Moving on, the Tennessee Titans, one of the nominees as the team of ATL.
Team of ATL.
Very important game for them as they now travel to Detroit. A disappointing Week 1 loss, as we know and we've talked about. And now they get a Detroit team that looked positively frisky in their season opening win. Chris Wesseling, a Detroit team that when you look at what they've done under Jim Bob Cooter, and I'll tell you something, guys. I'll tell you something. I like this Cooter.
Coots.
I like Cooter.
Head coach candidate
Noted.
material, maybe, if this keeps going.
Head coach Jim Bob Cooter.
Why not? I mean, if they keep going, if it was
This
anyone
isn't the
else,
SEC,
you would
Greg.
get some buzz.
Okay, let me finish my point. I like this Cooter. But is Matthew Stafford finally coming into his own? And isn't that very bad news for the Titans if he is?
Good question. This offense, Kurt Warner named Matthew Stafford his top quarterback of Week 1 on Total Access.
I could see that.
And Theo Riddick and Amir Abdullah look like the most dynamic backfield tandem in the league against the Colts defense that can't tackle. I think the question is, if you believe the Lions offense is better without Calvin Johnson, will that show up against the Titans defense in which, led by Jarrell Casey, dominated the line of scrimmage against the Vikings?
I think if you're excited about watching the Titans each week, like you are, Christopher West,
Absolutely.
you have to be excited
Topher.
to see this matchup on the schedule in Week 2. Now, the Lions are probably excited to see Tennessee as well, but if you wanted a defense to get right against after what was ultimately a meltdown in the second half for Tennessee last week, this is the right matchup for Tennessee to do their things and really control the line of scrimmage themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
They could not stop the Colts at all in the second half of that game.
It's one thing to stop a 33-year-old Frank Gore behind a run-blocking offense like the Colts, and it's another to stop, you can make fun of Exotic Smash Mouth, but I think you're going to see a lot more of Derrick Henry in this game. DeMarco Murray, to me, looked every bit as good as he did in 2014 last week.
I think it's fair to look at the Titans and say both your running backs, DeMarco Murray, Henry, and Tajay Sharp, a big part of your passing game, and your quarterback have barely played together. It's going to take a little bit of time for this to gel. Greg, you pointed out on Sunday night, and I think this was, watching the game closely, this was correct. When they got down, the Titans had no way to climb out of that. And it wasn't just that. When the mistakes started to happen, they seemed to completely implode. Mariota threw a third pick that was called back by penalty.
Mariota had a mental meltdown.
It really was. And I'm not going to judge fully on the Titans on that, but this is a team that is going to need to come from behind in certain games. Jarrell Casey looked awesome, but their defense is not a top 5 defense. You're not going to win games with keeping the lead the whole time.
The exotic stuff didn't work. The Vikings were ready for it, and they're a great athletic defense that maybe were ready for it. But every time they went to one of the crazy formations, they were fun to watch. But a lot of times they were drive killers. Even in the first
thought it
half.
worked in the. I thought it.
They have a
I think the
third and
Vikings
one
caught
with
up to it quick.
They have a 3rd and 1 with a fake, jump, into the line by Mariota, and he pitches it back, and there's 4 Vikings waiting there for Derrick Henry that kills the first.
The Vikings did a great job under Zimmer of adjusting at halftime. That's what they really did.
From the avenue of common sense, when you spend your offseason talking about how you're exotic, doesn't that give defenses tip them off that you're going to be doing some exotic things?
In Mike
the game
Mularkey's
plan?
defense, he mentioned exotic smash mouth as what the Steelers ran in 2001.
Right.
He didn't say the Titans are going to be exotic smash mouth. He said they're going to be smash mouth.
So
I
why
mean,
do
it
we
got
say
picked-
that all the time?
Because like
because
everything
the
else in
media
the
ran away with
NFL,
it.
right?
That's
It got
not true.
picked up and
when
it
they
got made
followed
fun
up
of.
with him, he's explained it a lot of times. I mean,
He
he's
explained it well, and
Right.
he said, I was talking about the Steelers, not the Titans.
So the Titans don't run an exotic smash mouth.
No, they run a smash mouth, but you can call it exotic if you think that all these trick plays are what makes it exotic.
Well, there's a lot of not a lot, but a lot of formations with Derrick Henry and DeMarco Murray on the field at the same time. Once with Marcus Mariota not even on the field. I mean, they were.
But essentially, what they are almost over and over was 6, 7 guys up at the line.
One thing to watch in this game, the Titans have made it clear they want Delaney Walker a lot more involved than he was last week. And the Lions struggled a little bit with Dwayne Allen, and Jack Doyle, I believe, scored 2 touchdowns.
He was getting doubled last week.